I'm testing out the new Reolink TrackMix LTE 4G trail and security camera provided by Reolink. I previously tested out the Reolink Go PT Plus with the EIOT SIM card, and it really worked out great. Now the Reolink TrackMix LTE is a larger, robust, really solid. It's got some heft to it. It's got some size to it because it's a serious security and wildlife camera. And we'll go over a few of the features, and of course, as always, I'll spend a lot of time going over actual results. The first thing that impresses me is just the feel of being a well-built, solid, quality unit. It's designed to hang either from the ceiling or from a wall, hang upside down so that the water obviously is going to drain off this way. It also has a adapter to mount it to a tree or a post or something like that, and a very substantial mounting strap to go along with its substantial size and heft, and it also has a nice camouflage look to it. And I really like the camouflage look of this camera. In fact, it blends in rather well with this table. So let's go over a few of the features. It's 4K HD with two lenses. One is predominantly a wide angle and the other is a narrower angle, and they can be used together to track cars, people, and wildlife. And again, they're 4K 8 megapixel, which is really quite nice. It's really going to give you a high resolution, nice looking video and photos. Video bitrate is really what determines video clarity, but the higher the bitrate, the larger the files and data usage. And so 4G cameras typically run at reduced bit rates to make it easier to move the files through the 4G network. You can choose to record at clear or high resolution, which is full 4K resolution for the full screen camera videos and photos, and HD 1920 by 1080 for the zoom camera views, or you can choose low res fluent mode, which is generally 896 by 512 pixels, which looks fine on your phone screen. You're only really using 4G data up when you turn on the app and look at live data and review and display the playback videos and pictures over the 4G network, and when you download these pictures and videos to your phone. These are also saved to the micro SD card on the camera for later retrieval, so you can choose what you really want to download. Most significantly, when you use the app to record your own live videos and pictures directly to your phone's memory at highest resolution, you get the best pictures and videos, but use data faster. You can really burn through some data running at the highest resolution over the 4G network all the time. So the good news is you are in control of your bandwidth use depending on what your needs are at the time. The full high-resolution data is there for your use. Here is an example of the automatic detection and tracking picking up on a stray cat that I didn't know was hanging out in the backyard. The two-camera system is pretty cool, and if it will track a small mammal, it will track a person or a car. You can also adjust the size of animals, cars, and people you want to alarm on. For this test, I made the animal size as small as possible, and the detection worked well. You can also, of course, adjust the detection sensitivity as well as size. Your day-night sensor, your motion sensor, and then you've got spotlight for nighttime. It really lights up at night, so you see animals and people and activity in true color at night. And it also has a IR if you wanted to go into more stealth mode. Just have the IR in black and white, and that's really a nice option to have your choice of how you want to set it up. Of course, it's a 4G camera. These are your two antennas. There's two things I really like about the Reolink camera as far as setting it up, and one is you can bring your own SIM card. And this is the panel for the SIM card. You just simply remove two screws. The cover for the SIM card is underneath one of the antenna arms. You just bend it down and remove it, and make note that you want to have this part up. Now what's nice about this is you'll see a lot of security and wildlife cameras that have just rubber plugs that you put in there over the power or the SIM card, and that's supposed to keep the water out. I really like the fact that this has a screw-on cover with a nice gasket and it kind of enhances the water protection of it. And so under here you have the on-off switch, your reset switch, and then your nano SIM. And it comes with a little tool you can use to push the reset button or to eject the nano SIM holder. And you remove the nano SIM card cassette holder. I'm going to use the EIOT Club Triple Play Data SIM card. I've been using this for a number of years, and it's really nice. It'll work with AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, so you have a better chance of getting a signal wherever you put it. One of the things that I really like about this camera is that you can bring your own SIM card. The ones that are coming a lot of times and they have the SIM card pre-installed and you can't change it, that means you got to buy your data plan from the people who sold you the camera. That data plan may or may not fit what your needs, or the price may not fit your needs. And I've used the EIOT Club, and it's really a great SIM card. I highly recommend it. You can pick out the plan that best suits you, especially on a camera like this. If you're really into it, you might want to use a lot of data, or you might not want to use a lot of data. It just depends, but that's up to you. You don't have to depend on the maker of the camera as your only source of data. So this is nice. So I'm going to use the EIOT Club SIM card, and let me open this up and get it ready. Now, one of the reasons the SIM card is so important is that no matter what the capabilities of the camera are, it's only going to be as good as the SIM card and the connection you get with your data, so that you can do whatever you want as far as surveillance or documentation. You really have to depend on the SIM card to make the camera perform. So that's why I spend a fair amount of time discussing that in this video, because you're not going to be happy with the performance of your camera if you're not happy with the performance of the network. The other thing that's real nice about the EIOT Club is you just scan the information from your EIOT Club card into the EIOT Club app, and you get the information on your SIM card, how much data you use, how much data you have left, when it might expire, and you can manage it right here on your phone. It's really kind of easy to keep track of everything and see how your data usage is going. Now I'm going to use the micro version of the SIM card here. So when you pull out the micro version, just remember to hang on to this other adapter part that you might need later if you ever use this card in a different device. So you put your micro SIM card in its little carrier, and then you carefully put it back in here like that. Now I'm not going to turn it on yet because I'm going to go ahead and load the micro SD card. And another thing I like about this camera, the Reolink in general, is that they allow you to use a micro SD card to store your pictures and videos. You remove these two screws in this cover to expose the thing for your micro SD card, and you put your micro SD card in the proper orientation. And it'll take, I believe it takes up to 128 gigabyte micro SD card. And that's really important because you don't have to depend on buying cloud storage with this camera. You can save pictures and video to the micro SD card. And of course, if you're monitoring and looking at your triggers and things like that on your Reolink app on your phone, you can save pictures and videos right to your phone. So in my case, I haven't ever felt the need to buy cloud storage, although if it fits your needs, you certainly can. But I've been able to get by with just using SD cards and downloading data directly to my phone. Then you just put the cover back on firmly, but you don't want to over tighten it excessively because that might deform the gasket. Okay, you put the cover back on the micro SD card, and we've got our nano SIM card in there, and we're ready to fire this thing up. Now I've already charged this overnight. You want to charge it at least 8 to 10 hours and make sure it's 100% charged before you deploy it. So we're ready to go. We're going to turn it on. And the camera is waking up.
Network connection succeeded.
And we have our blinking blue light, and a network connection succeeded. The camera has been successfully connected to the network, and now we're going to add it to the Reolink app on our phone. Now you can also add this on a PC if you want. There's some optional instructions about how to do that. So now I'm going to go ahead and just simply launch the Reolink app, which I've already installed. I'm going to go to the Reolink app and just simply press the blue plus adds symbol. And then we're going to scan the QR code. And you can see it's connected already. Device initialization. And then you want to create a device password. So you make a password for your new device and then hit next. And it shows Reolink TrackMix LTE. Hit next. And I'm just going to leave that like that for now. You can always change that later. And it also gives you some advice. You don't want to point it at frequently moving objects. A typical example is pointing it right near down here in Florida, like a palmetto tree or something real close, or a strong light, or something that might interfere, or a strong heat signal, or a mirror, or a big glass window, those kind of things. We'll just make it harder for the motion sensors and the cameras and everything to adjust to the existing light and motion conditions. So initialization complete, and save the QR code to an album. That's a nice idea. So there we are. I mean, I did that in real time, and you can see right now it's just looking out the window there, and that was how quick it was to hook up with the EIOT SIM card and the instructions in the manual. And that's really what's going to make your life easier is having a SIM card that's going to just connect right away. And you can see that the EIOT triple play SIM card did it. Now here in Florida where I live right here, there's pretty good signal from both AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. So it's not a big deal. Now in other places, like I have a small cabin up in the deep mountains of North Carolina where sometimes the AT&T works good, sometimes the T-Mobile works good, and sometimes the Verizon works good on a given day or time. So that's where the triple play really comes in handy. But the actual initialization of the SIM card and connecting to the network took less than a minute. And it just took me a few minutes to set up a password. And here we are looking live right now. You can see I'm just going to hold up the little bear here. So we're good to go. Very simple. Now the next step will be to get it out there and start looking at the quality of the data and the triggering and using the app, and I'll demonstrate that all next. So it is on, and I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on here securely, and we're going to deploy this and have some fun seeing what we see. You know, you can mount it either on the wall or up under a ceiling or on an eave or something like that. It comes with a template and the hardware for mounting here. All the things you need to mount. It also has an optional adapter if you want to mount the strap to a tree or a post or a pole. And this is the adapter for the power. Now, you know, the whole idea for me of having 4G is to have my own power supply, and I'm using the Reolink Solar Power supply here. And it's a solid, larger panel, and you do want a larger solar panel. You want a solar panel large enough that's going to keep the camera powered up. And this has a fast charging battery, so if you get a lot of activity at night, that might be running down your battery if you're running the spotlights and things like that. You get next day, you get some sun, it'll charge it right back up pretty rapidly. Comes with a mount for the solar unit. The solar power unit has, I think, about a 12-foot cord. It also has an adapter if you want to use a strap to mount it to a tree or a post or a pole, or mount it you know, on a wall or whatever. And of course this you just adjust in an infinite number of locations to get it to where it's pointing right at the sun. And you know, the sun will change a lot with season in some places depending on where you are. So depending on how often you're going to visit the site, if it's going to be, you know, like several months or something like that, then you want to look at the solar tables around your area and adjust this to where you know that over a period of time it'll get the best amount of sunshine that it can get for a given location. This is really a nice unit. I really love the fit and finish and the solidness to it. It's definitely a step above the Reolink Go PT Plus that I'm testing, which is really a very nice unit. It's been very reliable, and it really worked well through the hurricanes here in Florida recently. I use 4G cameras and home Wi-Fi cameras for a combination of security and wildlife watching. And I have a primary home in Florida in a humble rustic cabin in the high mountains of North Carolina. At the cabin, I rely on 4G cameras only to remotely monitor, as I don't want to bother with the full-time expense of internet service just to run a Wi-Fi router, and internet service is shaky up there anyway. When I'm there, I rely on mobile phone internet and hotspot, and I've been doing that for 3 years now. And the 4G trail and security cameras have been working for me, especially since I started using the triple play multi-network SIM card from EIOT Club a few years back. I learned a valuable lesson during the 2024 hurricane season. Don't put all your security cameras, eggs, in one basket. Besides getting security or animal alerts, I like to look live at what's going on at either of these locations, especially when bad storms are moving through. And you know what? If the power grid is down, the cameras that connect to your home Wi-Fi router are not going to work. They're not going to work for you without power. There were extended power outages in both Florida from Hurricane Helene and Milton, and in the mountains of North Carolina from Hurricane Helene. But I was able to keep tabs on the Florida property even though the power was out, because I had 4G cameras that ran on solar power, and typically the cell phone system is more robust than the power grid. Now things can get real bad and you might lose all communications. But having both systems, if you can, as a backup is an affordable security option. I was able to intermittently connect to my 4G security cameras up in the mountains after Helene as well, even though we had no power and cell service was out just about everywhere. And this was even though I couldn't contact any neighbors up there with my Verizon phone. At least I was able to put my mind at ease that I didn't get much damage with the 360 pan, tilt, and zoom to look around. There's no worse feeling than knowing your area of interest, be it home, farm, cabin, warehouse, store, corral, field full of livestock, or stored RV, etc., is in the middle of a big storm and you can't find out what's going on. So if you already have a Wi-Fi security or wildlife observation system, I would suggest you consider getting one or two pan, tilt, and zoom 4G cameras like this one with a robust multi-network SIM card like the EIOT Club, or one you know will work best in your area, as these cameras can cover a wide area and you can zoom in and control them. For the price, the peace of mind that comes with having them is worth it.